So today we are to start on consumer behavior or consumer theory, and that's what we want to basically understand. Now, consumer behavior or theory is simply an attempt to give explanation to how a consumer would behave when faced with a problem of choice. So we are on consumer behavior theory or behavior, as we may call it. So this is an attempt. This is an attempt to give an explanation to the behavior, of a consumer when faced with choice. So basically that's the topic for us. An attempt to give explanation to the consumer's behavior when he's faced with a choice to make. We have already discussed in the abdominal analysis how a consumer is able to when a consumer is able to buy more and less. So we are still on this consumer, but the other side we are talking about demand, or when a consumer would be able to demand more of a product or lower of a product under all situations and so forth. But today it is about the behavior of this consumer when it's faced with choices. Remember when we are starting our discussion in economics, we said that the choices are decided by the scarcity of the resources. The resources at the disposal of individuals are scarce, but the desires for the consumer are basically unlimited. And so because of that, because of the scarcity of resources and unlimited ones of the consumer, a consumer has to make a choice. He has to decide which desires to meet and which ones to forego. So we are saying this is an attempt for us to be able to give an explanation on how a consumer will be able to basically behave when he's faced with a choice. And so we have two schools of thoughts that attempts to explain the consumer's behavior. So we have what we call theory. So we have two theories which basically try to explain for us how a consumer will basically be able to behave. So we have cardinalistic approach, and we have what we call ordinalistic approach. So basically, as I've said, there are two schools of thought that tries to explain the consumer's behavior. And so we talk about cardinalistic theory or ordinalistic theory or approach. So it's that theory or approach. So it is simply a school of thought. So we shall start with the first one. Now, of course, from the very outset, the difference between the two, you have to understand that for cardinalistic approach, that school of thought, they are of the opinion that the satisfaction that a consumer is able to derive from the consumption of a commodity is capable of measurement. So we shall start by what we call cardinalistic approach. Now, under this approach, of course, there are certain things that we must understand just from the very onset. There are things, the concept that we must understand first, we have what we call utility. Utility, we have to understand what utility is. We also have to understand what marginal utility is. Utilities. We also have to understand what total utility is. Really is. And then we shall have to understand again the equilibrium position of the consumer. So we shall also have to understand equilibrium of a consumer under this area. So we are saying, just before we start here, we have said that the difference between these two, the cardinalistic approach, they have the opinion that the satisfaction that a consumer obtains from consuming a product is capable of being measurement, and it is measured by the units we call utils. That those units, we are able to equate them to the price that we are willing to pay for those commodities. But ordinalistic theory, they are of the opinion that it is not possible for us to measure the satisfaction that's obtained from consuming of a commodity, but we are capable of ranking. We are able to rank which product is better than the other. So, but we are not able to measure the utility. Now, what is utility? Utility is simply the satisfaction. The satisfaction a consumer derive from consumption of a commodity or good. That satisfaction you are deriving from the consumption of a commodity is what you are referring to as the utility here. Utility, the satisfaction that you derive from consuming a commodity. Then marginal utility, margin. As you, of course, we shall, there's also a concept here we are leaving out here. It is also important, but it's diminishing marginal utility. Then we shall discuss that which we had said equilibrium. Now, thereafter we shall come to equilibrium. Now, utility, the satisfaction a consumer derives from consumption of a commodity. And we are saying under a cardinalistic approach, we are able to measure it. Just like we can measure 2 liters of water, 1 liter of milk, 2 kilograms of sugar, and so forth. We are also capable of measuring this satisfaction by the units we call utils. And we shall understand that these utils are equated to the price. So this measurement is equated to the price that you are willing to pay for the commodity. We have marginal utility here. Marginal utility is the additional utility that you derive from consuming an additional unit of a product. So that utility, the additional utility, it is the utility derived from consuming one additional unit of a product. That is what we refer to as marginal utility. How much of the satisfaction am I deriving if I consume 1 more unit of a product? How much of the satisfaction? And here we are assuming it is capable of being measured. It is the utility derived. Of course, now we know what utility is, the satisfaction a consumer derived from consumption of a commodity. So marginal utility, that utility that you derive from consuming additional unit of a product, an extra unit of a product. How much of the satisfaction are you getting from it? That's what we call marginal utility. Now, the total utility, of course, the total satisfaction that you derive from consuming a given units of a commodity. So it is, just the name suggests, the total satisfaction that a consumer derive from consuming a amount, a given quantity, or given amount, given quantity of a product. So if we have consumed 10 units, for example, how much of the satisfaction are you deriving from that, the consumption of those 10 units is called total utility, total satisfaction. The total satisfaction that a consumer derives from consuming a given quantity of a product. I've consumed 10 units of it. How much of the satisfaction am I deriving from that consumption of those particular units? Gives us total utility. Now, diminishing marginal utility. To diminish means to reduce. So what happens that we have the law of diminishing marginal utility. We have the law of diminishing marginal utility. So the law of diminishing marginal utility, of course, we ought to have talked about the law. We also have to talk. We ought to have talked about the law of diminishing marginal utility. Now, what happens? The law of diminishing marginal utility is basically says that as more units of a product is consumed by a consumer, the satisfaction that he obtains or derives from the additional consumption goes to decline. And that's what we call law of diminishing marginal utility, which means as you are consuming more of a product, as you continue consuming more of a product, the satisfaction that you will be obtaining from the additional units will be less than the previous satisfaction. It's called law of diminishing marginal utility. Just like when you start drinking soda, the first bottle of soda may give you a greater satisfaction. The second, the second will give you some satisfaction, but less than the first one. So the first one gives you a greater satisfaction. But as you continue consuming the bottle of soda, the satisfaction goes to decline. And so that's what we call the law of diminishing marginal utility. So what are we saying by that? We're saying that the law of diminishing marginal utility states that the more a consumer consumes, the more the consumer consumes, the more a consumer consumes a given commodity, say the total utility or the marginal utility, or marginal satisfaction declines with additional consumption. So the more a consumer consumes a given commodity, the marginal utility declines with additional consumption. So we say it means that the latter units of a product will give you less satisfaction as compared to the first units that you consumed of a product. So we call that the law of diminishing marginal utility. So as you consume more additional units, basically the marginal utility goes to diminish. Then, what have we just said? These are the concepts that actually we have talked about as far as this is the cardinalistic approach is actually concerned. And we have said the difference between this approach, cardinalistic approach and ordinalistic approach, is that for cardinalistic approach, the utility, the satisfaction are capable of being measured, and they are measured in what we are calling utils. And these utils are equated to the price that you are willing to pay for the commodity. They are equated to the price that you are willing to pay for the commodity. Now, let's just like in every situation we have the assumptions. Here, under cardinalistic approach, we also have the assumptions, and those assumptions means whenever we are trying to understand the consumer behavior, we assume that some particular assumptions are basically some other factors are held constant. These are what we call assumptions. So, what are the assumptions? What are the assumptions here? So the assumptions of this approach. Number one, we talk about consumer rationality. Consumer is being rational. Consumer rationality. When we say a consumer is being rational, we simply mean that a consumer is aiming at maximizing his satisfaction. a consumer is aiming at maximizing satisfaction. They talk about a consumer is being rational. So it's the consumer basically aims at maximizing his satisfaction. Again, we are seeing. So again, we are talking about number 2. We are saying here we are able measurements. I've already said that in this case, we are assuming that we are able to measure the satisfaction in units called utils. We are able to measure the satisfaction that a consumer is deriving from the consumption of a commodity through the units we call utils. Just like we are able to measure 2 liters of milk, as I've said, 2 liters of water, and so forth. Then we also have the marginal utility of money. The marginal utility of money is assumed to be constant. So they will assume that there is a marginal utility of money, marginal utility of money is constant. Now we assume that there's for money there is no change in the marginal utility of it, and that is all necessary if we are to use it as a measure to equate it to utils. So that's that. Now, other than these assumptions, of course, those are the assumptions that are listed there, but I want you to understand that other than these assumptions, there are also other assumptions that you need to understand. We are assuming that the products which are being consumed, they are homogeneous. They are homogeneous. So for this to apply, the products there must be homogeneity, which means they must be similar. If we have 3 milliliter, 300 milliliters of soda, they should be 100 milliliters of soda. Just a minute. And we are saying that the products are supposed to be homogeneous, which means they are supposed to be uniform throughout. The fifth assumption is that we are assuming that the taste of the consumer does not change. The taste of the consumer will remain the same. The taste of the consumer, does not change. So if your taste changes, it will be a different story. So the taste of the consumer does not change. And again, we are also assuming that there's continuity. There's continuity in consumption. Because you cannot say, if it's you are measuring satisfaction from the consuming sodas, you drink one today, then you wait, you drink another tomorrow, then essentially this law will not apply. So for there to be aspect of diminishing marginal utility, it means that the consumption of that commodity should be continuous. So there should be continuity in consumption. So this, the consumer is rational, the utility scale being measured, marginal utility of money is constant, is homogeneous, the price are homogeneous, the taste of the consumer does not change, continuity in there is also continuity in consumption. So the consumption is continuous for this particular law basically to apply. Now, having looked at that, we may have basically having looked at that, we may proceed and look at this concept of diminishing marginal utility in detail. And we have said that the marginal utility is the utility derived from consuming an additional unit of a product. How are we able to get it? So marginal utility is simply the change in total utility over change in quantity. So if you have that, it will tell you how much are you deriving from consuming one additional unit of a product. For example, if we were to consume sodas, if you have to consume sodas, so this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then total utility is 0. Of course, if you consume none, so 4, 7, 9, 10, 10. Then we have marginal utility. So we have marginal utility. Of course, there is nothing in the first instance. What about this one? Tell me. Marginal utility ni hapa ni ngapi? Marginal utility hapa ni ngapi? Ni? Marginal utility hapa ni ngapi? Ni 0. Ni 3. We say change total utility. So this is 4 minus 0 over 1 minus 1 minus 0. Sindio? See, the previous one was 0. Change 4 minus 0 over 1 minus 0. That gives you how much? Hiyo ni ngapi? 4. So the marginal utility there is 4. Next one, marginal utility ni ngapi? See, unaona tu na macho. Hii hata you don't need to compute. Hii 3, hii ingine 2. Uoni? Who's not seeing? You want to drink sodas. 0, of course, there's no satisfaction. You have not drank it, isn't it? Then if you drink one, what happens? Total is that. You have just drank one. So at the pace you are not drunk. So it is how much? 4, sindio? Sio tumekunywa one soda moja. Na inakupatia total utility ya hii moja. Now, marginal utility ni 4. How is it 4? It is total utility which is 4. A change in total utility which is 4 minus 0. Sindio? Over change in quantity 1 minus 0. Ni ngapi? Ni 4. Sindio? If you drink the second soda, hii ya kwanza ushaweka the second soda now combine ile ya kwanza na hii ingine na kupatia 7 together. The two sodas now gives you 7. So the other one gives, which means this additional soda, the first one was 7. But now if now there are 2, the total utility is 7. Hii ingine umeongeza inakupatia which utility? How many utility? How many? How many? Is 3. If you have 3 sodas, the 2 are giving you 7. Now the 3 sodas are giving you 9 total. Now inakwambia, that tells you that this additional soda inakupatia how many satisfaction? How many? 2. Then you take the 4th soda. All the 4th sodas, all of them now are giving you 10 because you're able to measure them. The 3 sodas will give you 9 satisfaction, 9 utils. Now hii ingine inakupatia ngapi? Hii yote ine inakupatia 10. Inamaanisha hii 4th addition umeongeza imekupatia ngapi? 1. Add together. Then the 5th one, if we add another soda, how much are we getting? 0. See, it means this is 0. Add together. This is 0. Now, we can proceed and see. Look at another. We can proceed and look at the 6th soda. So if the 6th soda, this one is 9. Now tell me, what's the marginal utility of the last 6th soda? -1. -1. So these are the total utility, and we are saying it's given by that. So if you are to draw, basically to draw a curve of the two, if you are to draw a curve of the two, then this is what you will be having. This is what you'll be having. We shall be having here total utility. It will be increasing. So you can see it is increasing. The first 0, 4, 3 at a decreasing rate. So total utility will be there at an increasing. It is increasing. Hapa, sini hapa. Increase. It is increasing. Total utility 0, 4, 7, 9, 10. It is decreasing up to a point where it is now constant. But you can see why it is increasing at a decreasing rate, because you can see the utility is going down. So if you are to draw it, total utility will be at that up to that, beyond which it becomes negative. So it's total utility curve. Now, at that point, so this total utility, this is total utility, and there so we have this utility and this unit is consumed. So we have utility hapa, units consumed. Now, if you were to draw marginal utility, so marginal utility, it takes the form of demand curve that we had seen. And remember, we said we are able to equate utils to price. So it means that marginal utility may actually be in the form of demand curve, of course, the positive part. Now, if you were to draw it at that point where it is maximum, so it should be down there. So this point where it is maximum, beyond which it starts to should be a straight line. So you can see marginal utility here. So this is marginal utility. This is marginal utility. Again, this is the units of units consumed. The total utility are increasing, but at a decreasing rate up to a given point. Beyond this point, when it is maximum, it is maximum at 10. It will start to decay. Beyond that point, it will actually, there's a point where it is constant, the 0. Unit will actually give you 0. Beyond that point, they start to decline. At that point, the marginal utility is basically 0. So at that point, the marginal utility is actually basically 0. So utility here is actually 0. So if you are to draw it, then basically this would be the total utility curve increasing up to a given point. Beyond that, basically it becomes 0. So beyond this point, the marginal utility basically at this point is 0, but beyond this, the marginal utility becomes negative. So a rational consumer will not be able to consume until the satisfaction is negative. So they leave it at a point. You will actually be operating at the point where the marginal utility basically is positive. Now, as I said, you can be able to equate this. You can be able to equate this to demand curve. And you have to equate to the demand curve. This part will be the same as the demand curve as we had learned in our previous lesson, demand analysis. So if you are to present it, so we shall have, this is the price. So supply is 0. The sodas we have 0. We have so marginal utility, so whatever is there, so this is that so so this is the price, this marginal utility, the same as the price. So this is 0. So we have just draw it here for this so that you can explain it together. So down there we have marginal utility 3, marginal utility 2, marginal utility 1 there. So in essence, this is quantity demanded. Then we shall be having this marginal utility curve. We want to put it to a demand. Then we shall be having demand curve. So you can see this will be the same as the price. So the demand curve, we have demand curve. So marginal utility 1 will be the same as the price at that level. So this will be, because this one will be X1. So X1, quantity 1, quantity 1, quantity 2, quantity 3, and we have marginal utility. So it will be, can have that there. This is that there. Is that there? Is that there? So you can have a curve there, because it should be a straight line. So, because this is that, this is that, this is that. So this marginal utility curve, and then this can be equated to what is, this is the price P3. This can be equated to P2, and this can be equated to P1. So the demand curve is also at, so we can also have Q1, Q2, Q3. So we have this, that, P2 is that, Q3 is that. So you can also have that. So this is the demand curve. So for the demand curve, it cannot be negative. So it should be the next. So it should not be negative. So that is that. So what we are saying in short is that we are able to equate the quantity that we are consuming at this point is the same as the price at that point. So this Q is the same as this Q. You can see you are able to equate the price, the P3, with the marginal utility 3. This marginal utility 3, marginal utility 2, and we have marginal utility 1. So the price we are at, this price is the same thing as the satisfaction that we're getting. So we are able to pay the satisfaction that we are getting, the utils that we are getting, we are able to equate it with the price at that point. The price 2 is also the same thing as the utils, the marginal utility, this marginal utility. So the satisfaction that we're getting at this price is also the satisfaction that we're getting at this can be equated to this price. The satisfaction that we're getting at this can be equated to this price. And so the Q1 is the same as thing, the Q2 is the same as this, the Q3 is the same thing as that. So what we are saying this is, by this explanation is that we are able to equate utils to what we refer to as the price that we are paying to a product. Now, in that case, we are then able to come at what we call equilibrium of a consumer, equilibrium of a consumer under cardinalistic approach. So the equilibrium may be for a single product, and we can also determine the equilibrium for a multiple product. So we have said that we are able to equate the satisfaction, we are able to measure the utils, and these utils can be equated to the price that we are willing to pay. So in essence, if we have product X and the price is more than the utility, the marginal utility of that product X is more than the price of that X, automatically you will be able to buy more of that product. You will be able to buy more of that product. But if the marginal utility of product X is basically less than the price of that product, then what are you going to do? You will be buy less of that product. So in this case, you will buy more. You will consume more. So we talk about consumption because it's about satisfying you being satisfied. So you will consume or buy more, consume more. And here you will consume less. So those conditions are there until a consumer reaches equilibrium. So a consumer will reach an equilibrium when the marginal utility of a product is the same as the price of that product. At that point, we say that the consumer is at equilibrium. So at the point where the marginal utility of that product is the same as the price, it is the point of equilibrium of a consumer at a single where there's a single product. So where the utility, the marginal utility of that product is higher than the price, it means that product is cheaper. The satisfaction is higher than what you are paying for it. So you rather buy more. You will rather consume more of that product. You will rather buy more of a product. But if the satisfaction that you are getting from consuming a product is actually less than the price, so which means the price is too high, it is too expensive, then automatically you will buy less of that product. So you will be at equilibrium when the marginal utility of that given product is the same as the satisfaction is actually the same as the price which is attached to that product. So this is the point when a consumer will be at equilibrium. Now, for a multi-product, we talk about equimarginal utility. Equimarginal utility, we have seen that we have said that for a single product, where the consumer will be at equilibrium, where marginal utility of X is the same as the price of X. This is to say that because they are the same, it means that at equilibrium, if you are to get the marginal utility of X over the price of X, this will be 1. It will be equal because they are the same. It will be the same as 1. So under multiple products, a consumer will be at equilibrium when the marginal utility of product 1 to the price of product 1 is the same as the marginal utility of product 2 to the price of product 2, and all of it equate to 1. So we talk about equimarginal utility. So under multiple products, a consumer will be at equilibrium where the marginal utility of product of the first product over the price of the first product is equal to the marginal utility of the second product, Y, whatever the second product over the price of the second product is equal to the marginal utility of the third product over the price of the third product, and all that must be equal to 1. So because we have said for a single product, this is the point of equilibrium. So it means that if there are several products, then it will be at equilibrium when the ratio of this, the ratio of marginal utility of product 1 to the price of product 1 is equal to the ratio of that, which means all of it are basically 1. So we talk about equimarginal utility. So in that case, we talk about a concept called equimarginal utility. It means the consumer basically is at equilibrium in consumption of all the product. So each of the products is actually the ratio of marginal utility of each product to the price of each product gives you 1. So in that case, we talk about equimarginal utility. Now, that has been explained there. So we have criticism of this approach. We have criticism of the approach. And the first, we say utility cannot be measured objectively. So we are saying the first thing that we are criticizing under this approach is that utility cannot be measured objectively. The second, we say the law of diminishing marginal utility is based on introspection. So really, the law of diminishing marginal utility is not, basically you cannot say that it is just a personal judgment. So it's actually based on personal judgment. So it's based on introspection. So it's not capable of being defended. It's not capable of being basically defended objectively. So it is based on introspection. It's just a judgmental, that as you consume additional unit of a product, the satisfaction goes to reduce. Then you say the marginal utility of money is not a constant. Obviously, you know, money means several things to several people. So, for example, a poor person, the marginal utility of money, may actually be higher than for a rich person, and vice versa. Then the law does not apply everywhere. So essentially, you also say the law does not apply everywhere. Of course, we have seen it does not apply everywhere. For example, we have said that when you are consuming, those who are drinking alcohol, you'll find the more you consume of alcohol, the more you get the satisfaction, and therefore the law does not apply there. Again, also those who are smoking, you find that the more you smoke, probably the more you get satisfaction, so the law does not apply for you. Again, we also say that in money, the more you get of money, the more you want more of it, and therefore it is actually does not apply on this particular in this particular case. So we are saying the law does not apply everywhere because we have exception to it. In the case of smokers, in the case of those who are drunkards, so forth, the more they consume, or in case of a hobby, if you have a hobby, the more you do a hobby, the more you basically you want to do more of that hobby, and so the law does not apply in those cases. So you say it does not apply everywhere. Now those are those. So now that is as far as what you call the cardinalistic approach is concerned. So what we have captured in other cardinalistic approach, we have defined, we have understood what it is, and we have said it is a school of thought where we assume that the satisfaction that's obtained from that is a satisfaction that's obtained from the consuming a product is capable of being measured. And we have said that satisfaction is what we refer to as utility. We also talked about marginal utility, total utility, law of diminishing marginal utility. We also talked about the assumptions that underlie that particular school of thought. We also say that basically we have seen when can a consumer be at equilibrium under this particular approach. And we said for a single product, a consumer will be at equilibrium when the marginal utility of one product is the same as the price of that product. Because we have said these utils on which you are measuring this particular satisfaction can be equated to the price that you are willing to pay for those products. So if that is the case, you have said if the marginal utility, the satisfaction that you are deriving from consuming a product is more than the price, it means that the price is less. So you would rather consume more, you would rather buy more of that product until you reach equilibrium. Again, when the marginal utility of a product is less than the price of that product, it means the price is high than the satisfaction. So a consumer will actually reduce his consumption of the product until again it reaches equilibrium. So the equilibrium will be reached by the consumer at a point where the marginal utility obtained from consuming a product is the same as the price of that product. That is where in case of a single product. But in a case of a pragmatic product, when a consumer is consuming several products, then we say there is an aspect of what we call equi, which means the marginal utility should be the same. The ratio of marginal utility of the first product to the price of the first product should be the same as the ratio of the second marginal utility of the second product to the price of the second product, and so on and so forth. Now that's what we have covered there. Then we proceed to discuss what we call ordinalistic theory. So ordinalistic theory is also referred to as indifference curve approach. So ordinalist theory, so we also refer to as indifference curve approach. So what are we saying? I've started by saying that under this approach, we assume that the utility is not capable, it cannot be measured, but we are able to rank the preference of the consumer. So this school of thought, this school of thought says that the satisfaction derived from consuming a product by a consumer cannot be measured, but the consumer can rank his product, his consumption can rank his consumption of commodities in the order of preference. That's that. You cannot measure. Under this, you cannot be able to measure the utility. You can't measure it. That's the other case you're saying we are able to measure it in utils. But in this case, it's not. This school of thought says that the satisfaction derived from consuming a product by a consumer cannot be measured, but the consumer can only rank his consumption of commodities in order of preference. Can only rank his consumption of commodities in the order of preference. So you'll be able to know that it prefers this commodity over the other one, but you cannot measure the satisfaction that you're getting from consuming given units. Now, as I said, it is also referred to as the indifference curve approach. So what are the assumptions? What are the assumptions? Again, the first one is rationality, which is also the other side. And then number two is say utility is ordinal. So the other side, remember, it was being measured. The assumption is saying rationality. Rationality, again, as we have said, the consumer is assumed to be rational in the sense that he aims at maximizing his utility, satisfaction again, but then he cannot be able to measure the utility. He cannot be able to measure his satisfaction, but again, it's rational. Number two here, utility is ordinal. Utility is ordinal, which means we cannot measure it, but we are able to rank our products in order of preference. We are able to rank our products in order of preference. So we are not able to measure utility, but you can rank them according to the satisfaction of each combination. Utility depends on the units consumed. Of course, the more. So it depends, utility depends on units consumed. What are we saying? The more units we consume, the more we are able to get more satisfaction, and vice versa. So we also have what we call consistency. And also we have number 5, transitivity. Transitivity. Now, we say that the consumer is aiming to maximize his satisfaction. That we have seen is also relevant in the case of cardinalistic approach. We're also saying that the utility is ordinal. Utility is ordinal. That is to mean that we can't measure it. There are certain methods, so we are able to measure it. But here we are not able to measure it, but we can rank the product in order of preference in terms of which one it gives us more satisfaction, the other, and so on and so forth. And then the satisfaction, it depends on the units that you are consuming. The more units we have, the more better it is for us. Consistency, again, the other side, we say the consumer must not change his taste. The taste remains. So in this case, again, we say you have to be consistent. If you prefer A to B, at no time, if you prefer A over B, at no time will you then say you prefer B over A. No, that is the lack of consistency. So if you prefer A to B, you must always do that. You cannot then at one time you say you prefer A over B, and then at another time you say you prefer B over A. That will be lack of consistency, and therefore this indifference approach will not work. So we assume that the consumer equation is consistent. Again, we talk about by transitivity. By transitivity, it is actually from the aspect of consistency. By you being consistent, it means you are able to predict. We are able to predict your choice. For example, if you prefer A over B and you prefer B over C, then if you are given A and C, which one you will prefer? If you prefer A over B and you prefer A over B and you also prefer B over C, and then you are given A and C. Which one would you prefer? You would prefer A. So it is by network of transitivity you are able to predict the consumer's choice based on the consistency. So if you prefer A over B and you prefer B over C, then you cannot say that if you're given A and C to choose, then you say you prefer C over A. That is not possible. So by that transitivity, we are able to predict the choice of the consumer. Then, as we have said, it's also referred to indifference curve. We want to understand what is this indifference curve as far as ordinalistic approach is concerned. So, when we talk about indifference curve, indifference, what is this? It is a locus of points. A locus of points showing a combination of two commodities which gives or yields the same satisfaction. And remember here, you are not able to measure it. So, two commodities. So, what first, what I said? I said it is a locus of point. It is a locus of points which yields the same satisfaction to a consumer. Just that. We have that commodity X, and we can have commodity Y and commodity X. Indifference curve 1. So at any given point, those points could be point A, point B, point C. Those points, if they give the same satisfaction to a consumer, we refer to the locus of those points are what we refer to as indifference curve. So point A, point B, point C gives the same satisfaction. Those points gives the same satisfaction, A, B, and C. So it means you can decide, for example, just say this is 4, this is 6, this is 8. Those are 8 units of a Y. Let's suppose this is 3, this is 6, this is 9. Now, we are measuring the satisfaction that we are concerned with. And under this point, we have how many of Y? How many of Y do you have here? How many of Y do you have here? 8. And how many of X do you have there? 3. This point, how many of Y do you have there? And how many of X? 6. Under this, how many of Y do you have? And how many of that other one? 9. So these are baskets. But this basket will give the same satisfaction to a consumer. And that locus of points is what we are referring to as a indifference curve. So it's a locus of points showing a combination of two goods which yield the same satisfaction to a consumer. And because more is preferable, the higher. So we can also have, of course, it depends on your income. When the income increases, you have another indifference curve will also have to change. So indifference curve 2. So the indifference curve 2, indifference curve 3. So it will depend on your income. Are you together? Or you want to sleep? Yeah. I see you are dosing. Yeah. Are you getting anything here? Yeah? What is the indifference curve? Gives the same satisfaction to the consumer together. A locus of points showing a combination of two commodities which gives the same satisfaction to the consumer. We call it indifference curve. So it means that 8 units of y and 3 units of x, it gives the same satisfaction as 6 units of y and 6 units of x. It gives the same satisfaction as 4 units of y and 9 units of x. Those is what we call the difference curve. That's what we call the difference curve. So a locus of points that gives the same satisfaction to the consumer. Now, a combination of different curve, like this one, a combination of indifference curve is referred to as indifference map. A combination, so a combination of indifference curve is referred to as indifference map. It's referred to as indifference map. So when you combine them together this way, we talk about indifference map. Now, properties of indifference curve. We have the different properties. We have one, they are negative slope. 2, they do not intersect. 3, they are converse to the origin. Of course, they are negative slope. They do not intersect. They converge to the origin, and also they are also downward sloping, as you are able to see. We shall see all those other. We shall also see other properties. So essentially, having looked at that, we have also to determine that's the difference curve. Before we get to understand the equilibrium of the consumer under ordinal approach, we have to get what is called budget line. So there's also what we call budget line. So we shall see the importance of that. Budget line. At times we call it budget constraints. Budget constraints. So what is this? It is a locus of points showing a combination of goods which can be bought, using a given amount of money, amount of income of a consumer. So we have that. That's the budget line. The budget line is commodity Y again. Y, and we have commodity X. So if you have 2,000, 10,000 shillings, you can either decide to spend it anywhere. So A, B, C. So that is what is called budget line. The amount of money, it shows the amount of goods that you can buy buy of two commodities with a given amount of money. It's called budgets because your budget is supposed to be fixed on your income. Suppose again, this is let's say this is 2 again. Let's say this is 5. No, this is let's say this is 5. This is 10. This is 15. This is these are units. So this is 6, 12, 18. It means if these are units, you can buy 15 units of course this can be 20. This can also be this. Let's say this is 24. So you can buy 20 units of Y and 0 units of X. Sindio? So you have 20 units of Y and 0 units of X. Sindio? After you can buy 0 units of Y and 24 units of X. So these are units in terms of money. You can be 10,000, 5,000, the money that you have. How are you able to use it? Here, the same amount of money, you can be able to buy 15 units of that and 6 units of the other side. You can be able to buy 10 units of that and 12 units of that. You can be able to buy 5 units of that and 18 units of that. So it gives you. So look at the difference. The budget line will show the quantity of two commodities that you can buy using a given, you can actually go to acquire or buy or purchase using a given amount of income. But the indifference curve will show you a combination of two goods, which gives the same satisfaction. So you can see that. Now, this and that are locus of points showing a combination of two commodities that gives the same satisfaction. Are together? Are together? But this one, combination of two commodities, which can be bought using a given amount of income of a consumer. So if you have 10,000, how much can you buy of this and that if you combine them together? So they give you, they say those, you can buy them in different proportions, but then you use the same amount of money. If you have 2,000, you can decide to purchase all of it. You can decide to purchase sugar using it, or you can mix sugar and the unga. But you still use the same amount. So that line is what is referred to as indifference. That's what line was called budget line. Now, it is important for us to understand that concept, because then it will assist us to understand the consumer's equilibrium on this, based on this approach. So a consumer will be at equilibrium. A consumer will be at equilibrium. Equilibrium where the indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. Very important for us. What are we saying? This is product Y. This is product X. It is a budget line here. A straight line. So we shall be having an equivalence. So it should be indifference curve 1. Point of equilibrium. And when the income of the consumer increases, the equilibrium also increases. Indifference curve 2. As the same continue, so is the point of equilibrium also increases. So shifts. You can see the budget line is shifts. The budget line is shifting to the right whenever the income is increasing, and if the income was to decrease, the budget line will shift to the left, parallel to the original budget line. So the indifference curve will be there again. Indifference curve 3. That's that. Now we are able to see from that as we have more income, as our income increases, the amount of goods that you're able to buy also increases, and so our indifference curve also moves or shifts to the right. The same concept will also be true if our income was to go down or to fall. Then the budget line will shift to the left, and the difference curve will also increase. Now look at what here. If this is the case, then there is the points of equilibrium here. Equilibrium 1, equilibrium 2, equilibrium 3. You can join those lines. If you join those lines, those lines, we get what we call indifference curve. This result is from income. we call it income consumption line. So when the income increases, we are able to increase, we can call it income consumption line, income consumption curve or line, income consumption line or curve. But as we have seen, the income increases. So is the point of equilibrium. So this income, these lines joining this is because of the income of the consumer increasing. We call it the income consumption curve. That's that. So this curve, of course, you can be able to see that it is also joining this as the income is increasing, the point of equilibrium is also increasing. You can also see that the different curve, this curve is also joining difference curve. So you can also call it angel. At times you can also call it angel curve. Angel curve. So what is angel curve? So angel curve is a locus or points joining the equilibrium position, joining the equilibrium position of a consumer when the income changes. So when the income changes, the equilibrium position of a consumer also changes. We call it angel curve or income consumption curve. So that's that. Now, we want to see two things, other things. What about if the price of a commodity changes? What about if the price of a commodity changes? What about if the price of a commodity changes? What about if the price of a commodity changes? So when the price of a commodity changes, what happens? When the price of a commodity changes, the price of this was product Y, this was product Y, this is product X. Now let's assume that the price of Y, let's say we had an income of 1,000 shillings to spend, 1,000 shillings in our income. So the price of X, the price of Y is equal to 20. And the price of X is equal to 10. Tell me, if this is the price per unit of Y, how much units of Y, if we were to dedicate all of this income to purchasing Y, how many units shall we purchase of Y? How many units shall we purchase of Y? 50. So this divided by that, 50. So we can decide to buy 50 of that, 50 of Y. Then what about if we dedicate, this the income, we have to dedicate all of it to the purchase of X. How much are we going to purchase of X? 100. So we are able to purchase 100. We are able to purchase 100 units of X. Suppose now the price of X has gone down. The price of X has gone down to 5 shillings. How many of X are we able to purchase now? You are able to purchase 200 together. But the Y remains the same. So the change in X, the change in price, will result into, this is 200. If X was increasing, if the price of X was increasing, it would have gone down there. That's how it will go down there. So this change in price, the decrease in price has resulted in the increase in the quantity that you are getting that. So there is also a point of equilibrium. So this is that indifference curve 1, indifference curve 2, and this is not income that is bringing this change. It is the price. The other one was income consumption curve because online, this income consumption curve online, because it was the income that was bringing about the change together. But this one, the change is brought here, not by the income, but by the price. So we call, if we connect these points of equilibrium, we refer to this as price consumption line or curve. Price consumption line of, because it is brought by the price. Hope we're together. That's that. Then I think that I wanted us to discuss, I can't see it here, but then I'll just discuss, if it is not there, I'll just discuss it. And that is the substitution effect and income effect. Let me see. I can't see it there, but there's no problem. We can proceed with the discussion. Substitution and income effects of changes in price. Now, before we go to that, I'll talk about the price changing. Remember, it may also have, if a tax is levied on a product, it may make it expensive, and therefore there also may be changes in this manner. If taxes are levied and also subsidies on a product, they also make a product to be cheaper. It may also move in the, if a product is cheaper, you're able to buy more. If a product becomes expensive, less is going to be bought. So it will be, there will be change along the on the product whose price has actually changed, increased or decreased. Now, substitution effect and income effect of change price. Now, there are two effects. Whenever the price of a commodity changes, there are two effects to it. One, you are either able to buy more or less of a commodity, depending on the change in the price. So if the price has gone down, you are able to buy more of a commodity, more than you are. Of course, remember here, we can substitute one good for the other. So you are able to see that you are able to get more, you sacrifice less of one good to get more of the other. So they call that substitution effect. But at the same time, you can still buy the same quantities of the goods as you are buying before, and you are left with some income. We call that income effect of that. So substitution effect and income effect. So income effect, substitution effect means with the decrease in the price, for example, you are able to buy or acquire more of more of an item as compared to what you were acquiring before. Yeah, substitution effect. But at the same time, with the change in price, you can still maintain the quantity that you are buying of those goods, and then you are left with some money. We call it income effect. So why I'm saying that? So say the change, why I'm saying that is because you can be told to explain the substitution and income effect of of a reduction in price on a normal good on a given good. So you should be able to explain that. So the substitution, so say when the price of a commodity falls, comma, it has two effects. That is, it has two effects on the consumer, That is substitution and income effect. A consumer is able to buy more of the commodity, whose price has fallen. And this is referred to as substitution effects. Similarly, so the consumer can also decide to continue buying the same quantity, of the two goods, of the two commodities as before. And this is referred to as income effects. So I hope you're able to get the concepts and why we are saying that, because of you can be told to explain it in terms of normal goods and even good. Say substitution effect. Substitution effect is always positive, but the income effects may be positive or negative, depending on the nature of the commodity. For normal goods, the income effect is positive. The income effect is positive. But for given good, remember given good, we say there are those goods which are consumer low income groups, and for them, they have the income, the less is demanded. For this given goods, the income effect is negative. Very important for us to understand. Now, having understood that, we have said when the price of a commodity falls, which means decreases, it has two effects on the consumer. That is substitution effect, substitution and the income effect. A consumer is able to buy more of the commodity whose price has fallen, and this is referred to as substitution effect. The consumer can also decide to continue buying the same quantity of the two commodities as before, and of course, and is left as before, and is left with some income. So, and he is left with some income, some income or some money. This is referred to as income effect. Substitution effect is always positive, but the income effect may be positive or the negative depending on the nature of the commodity. The nature of the commodity, For normal goods, the income effect is positive, but for different goods, the income effect is negative. This you can be able to illustrate by using this diagram. So you can see normal goods. And I want us to use the same example that I was using there for us to understand what those things are. So I talked about me having 1,000 shillings, and I have product Y, which is 20 shillings, and product Y X, which was how much? 10 shillings. So I want us to use that example to understand what this effect is. Now, if this is the case, we know we have the original budget line. And the budget line here is that you have told me this one we are able to buy this 20, this is 50 of that units. So this other one was 1,000 divided by 10, 100 units. So we are able to buy that. So 50, so this multiply. And this commodity X. So suppose this is the original. So this 50 units of that, this is 100 units of that. That's that. Suppose we had said if the price of X it goes down to shillings 5, we're able to get 1,000 divided by 5. This was 200. So we said 200 there, 200 there, 200 there, 200. So my problem may not be standard. So this will give you an equilibrium. So suppose, of course, I don't know whether it's captured there, but one of the properties is of the difference curve is that it is convex to the origin. Is it captured in there? One of the properties of the indifference curve is that it is convex to the origin. I hope it is captured there in the notes. Is it captured? It's convex to the origin. The indifference curve. Yeah, it is there. Correct. So it has to be convex to the origin. So indifference curve 1. So this is indifference curve 2. Indifference curve 2. So we just this is a price consumption curve because it is brought by the price. Now, suppose, of course, you are able to see that initially we are able to buy at that. This was the point of equilibrium. This is the point of equilibrium. That is the point of equilibrium where we can mix the two. But because of the change in price, the equilibrium will change to somewhere there. The equilibrium will change to somewhere there. The equilibrium will actually change to somewhere there. Now, that is the price. Price has brought this change in equilibrium position of the consumer. Now, we can still decide to assume that when we decide to buy the same of the product, the price has gone down to 5 shillings, but we have decided to continue buying 50 units of that product and 100 units of that. How much money are we going to be left with? The price has gone down to 5 shillings of X. The price of Y has remained the same, but we have decided that we can continue buying 100 units of X as before and 50 units of Y as before. How much money are we left with out of 1,000? How much money are we left with? Ya kwanza y ilikuwa 50 times 20, si ndio? Isikuwa hivyo? Hiyo ni ngapi? Eh? Eh? Whatever. Okay. Okay, so it's okay. It's 1,000. It's okay. Then this other one, we are now buying. We are this 100. So 100 times 5 ngapi? Ni? Yes, I think that makes sense. Now we have options either to continue with that, and so we can continue buying 100 times 500. That's 500. It means that we dedicate our purchase to X. We shall be saving how much? Tutakuwa tumesave 500, because the new price is 5 shillings, and you are buying we are buying how much? 100 units at 10, which is 1,000. But if you decide to continue buying 100 units, but the price has gone down to 5, that means now we can be able to spend how much? 500 shillings. So we have saved how much? We have saved how much? Now, this saving of 500 is like we still had 1,000 that tukapata income ingine ya 500. Are you getting the concept there? It's like we still have 1,000 pale na tukaongezewa 500. Are you getting it? Nasema you can decide you are buying you had 1,000 initially, and this 1,000 you are using to buy how many units of X? 100 units, ndio? Uko na 1,000 umetumia yote kubuy X, which was retailing at 20 shillings, ndio? Retailing at 10 shillings, but price ya X may reduce, ndio? You can still buy how much? If you had 1,000 na unataka kununua X price may reduce to 5. You're able to buy how many of X? Remember you had how much initially? 1,000. Umebakisha ngapi kwa mfuko? Sio ni kama income yako may increase. Income yako may increase by 500. Are you seeing the concept there? Because initially when the price was 10, unakuwa unanunua 100 units of X yote na inaisha. Na sasa hii price may reduce, you are able to buy the same quantity 500 na unabakisha 500 kwa mfuko. Now it's like now there is an increase in your income by 5%. So it means that your income now is 1,500. Together, your income is now 1,500. Now with that, now the new income of 1,500, you can decide now to allocate them to the purchase of the new products. Now, if we are to allocate that the new 1,500 shillings to these products, let's see what happens. 1,500, if you divide by 20, how much are you getting? How much are you getting? Divide by 20. Okay? 750. 75. So why you can be having 75 there? So tell me. Let me give me a calculator. One here, a calculator. Just assist me with the calculator. Haya, so you are able to buy, so 75. Again, tell me, 1,500 divided by 10 ni ngapi? 1,500. So 1,500 somewhere there. Is it 1,500? Is it? 15. This 1,500 divided by 10. 150, zero, or 150. So 150 somewhere there, zero. So it's like now you have a new income, you want to reallocate them to the purchase of those commodities at the previous what? Prices together. So how much can you be able to buy of the new products? We are saying 75, because now you have 1,500 inside your pocket. You can buy 75, you can buy 150 of that. So again, you analyze that. And this I have changed from a new equilibrium point. This is what is called income effect, income consumption curve. So this one, the curve has gone shifted to that. It is because of the income effect. So this one, this is price effect, income effect. So you can see this of the new quantity is shifted to the new equilibrium point at that case. So this is to explain the substitution and the income effect of a normal good. But it was a different good because in the exam you can be told to explain the income as a new effect for a normal and for a normal good at wapi? I said initially you had to enter 1,000. You have to spend it on X because we had the option of X or Y. Sindio? X or what? Or Y. We had said the price of Y, X is what has here. Change. You have the option of spending it, the whole of it is either X or Y. The income of X is here, the price of X is here. From where? From 10 to 5. Sindio? You can still buy the same quantity of what? Of X as before. And when you buy the same as before, you are going to spend out 5 shillings times 100 is how much? So you are remaining what? 5 shillings. It's like your income has increased by 5 shillings from the previous one to together. It's like your income has increased by 5 shillings. You initially will spend 1,000 yote. Initially you will spend 1,000 all of it. Now there's nothing remaining. Together. Umeelewa bado? Are we together? Ama we are lost? Eh? Are you together? Or tell me. You have not understood it. Sindio? Have you understood? You're just laughing. I don't know. How whether you have understood it or Caroline, have you understood it? Have you understood? But you showed me you have understood the other side that time. Yeah? There? Where the income is increasing to? I say again. Well, rather you can assist me in explaining to them. How is it increasing? Can I hear what you want to say? Bro, you can assist me. Everyone, what is that? How has income changed? Can you keep quiet? You want to listen to how income has changed? Can you tell me how the income has changed?
Initially, for 1,000. It was supposed by 100 units of product X. 100 units of product X. Number of product X by 30 by so 10 times 100
1,000, yes.
I think that's if price X reduced to 5. So number of 100 units of 5 times 100 units will be 500. So kumaanisha out of ile 1,000 ambayo tulikuwa nayo kuna an extra of 500. Na because tushanunua 100 units, so ni kama ile 1,000 ambayo tuliikuza, so tuna add the other 500 and 1,500.
Are you getting it? Are you getting it really? So the reduction in the price has led to you having some money extra inside your pocket. The reduction in price of a product has led to you having some extra cost inside your pocket. You maintain the previous quality that you are buying of that product. So that extra cost that is remaining in your pocket is like an increase in the income, increase in income over the previous income that you had. So you can then reallocate that income that you have now to the product, the same quantities that you are buying of the same product. So it's like now for 1,500. So we are saying the fall in price has two effects: substitution effect na income effect. Saa ingine unapanda wakati the next grain is high, price is high, you are left with nothing. But when the price falls, then you find you are selling something. You are left with some income. Income effect. Your income effect. So you try to understand it. I know you understand. You understand? Yeah? I'm not sure because you are saying yes, you are saying no, I don't know. Okay. Now, if you are to, that is a normal good. Normal good, hapa ilikuwa previous clear point. Sasa, kama ni normal good, if the price consumption line, it will increase from here to that point. Sasa, for income effect, it will increase from this point to another point here. But for different good, you have to put this line at a point which is below the previous point, because we are saying for different good, when the income increases, you reduce the consumption. So you have for different good, you have to put the clear point at the new clear point, should be at a point which is below than the previous one. It is a different good. That's the only difference. That's the only difference, because we say for different good, the higher the income, the lesser is consumed. So it will for different good, it will just be this way. It will be 50. This is 100. This is what? This is 200. Then we shall, this is 75. This 150. So we shall have it, of course, this is how we have the equilibrium point there. We have the equilibrium point, this is that. Equilibrium point there, this is 2. This is the price consumption line, price consumption curve or line. And this was the original equilibrium. So it is a different good. The income effect will be negative. So you can put it this way to demonstrate that it's negative. For that, so that the quantity that we are going to consume now will reduce from what it was being there originally to the new position. So this is when talk about different good. Different good. That's that. So any query? That's enough for today's class. So any question? We even gone past the normal time. Any question? So when I come tomorrow, look at some other questions. There are also mathematics involved here, which we have not tackled. There are some calculations also involved here.